Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to talk about the challenge for September, that is to say Sketchtember, which we're going to be doing this year. Again, we did it last year, but this year it's a little bit more organized, and I've got here a big pile of sketchbooks just because I wanted something to put on my desk to get started with. Anyway, what I'm going to suggest is that throughout the month of September, the challenge will be to sketch something every day. It doesn't matter what, but my suggestion is that it should be, or could be, something that you can see. So rather than copying something out of a book or copying something from even a photo, that it should actually be something that you can literally see. So for example, like a rock, something like this, a stone, or a mug, something like this. Something that you can actually see, because sketching something that you can actually see is going to teach you much more about how to draw than anything else. Copying somebody else's way of drawing is better than nothing and often helps, but anyway, it's up to you. But that's what I'm suggesting, and I'm going to suggest that you try lots and lots of different drawing mediums. For example, pencils and biros and fine liners and B-roll handwriting pens and watercolor brush pens and acrylic markers and other acrylic markers and bamboo pens and gel pens and Kuretake calligraphy pens and pastel pencils and water brush, and drawing also even with an ordinary brush. It's another thing. What else? Not finished yet. I've forgotten what the other thing was I was going to suggest. Oh, yes. Yes. Where's it gone? Here we are. A dip pen to use with real ink. And you can also go off-piste a bit and use something like this, which is a feather, or something like this, which is just a stick. You can dip that into ink or paint. And I'm probably running out of things, but ordinary coloured pencils like that. It's another thing that you can draw with. And I haven't finished yet. Just looking for my other things. Bear with me. As they say in England. We have got here, just a sec. We have got a no wood graphite pencil. This is pure graphite. That's a 9B. That's going to be really nice and soft. And this is a charisma color. It's just an ordinary graphite color, but it's graphite watercolor, graphite aquarelle. So that will run when used on with water. And then we've also got, and I can't find it. Where's it gone? Have to look down here. Pencils, more pencils. Inktense, Dürer and Inktense, we could draw with those. That's an ordinary set of pencils. Oh yes, this is what I was trying to find. The Stettler Karat Aquarelle, but not red ones. I don't think they're red, although it's red in the box. I don't think they're actually red. No, these are black. One of my favourites, the Karat Aquarelle watercolour pencil, which when you wet it, it goes boing all over the place. It's quite exciting. And then also we have got options such as these Derwent Graphitints. There are so many different things that you can draw and paint with, aren't there? What's in here? I wonder. I can't remember what's in here. My memory is rubbish these days. Pastel pencils. These are Conte pastel pencils. Another good thing to draw with. And I'm going to try giving a lot of these a jolly good go as we go through the month. These are pastel coloured pencils. I had these recently. I acquired these from Lightwish. They were the things that started us on our little journey with Lightwish, with this rather intimidating looking chap on the box. Go away. But this is another great thing to draw with, pastel pencils, yes. So we'll do something with them. So how many things have we got? I think we've probably got almost 30 here right now as it is. Oh, and there's this art graph. This is something, it looks like, for those of you who sew, this looks like tailor's chalk. And in fact, the person who invented this was thinking about tailor's chalk when they invented it, but it isn't tailor's chalk. It's actually just a kind of, well, it says tailor shape here. So it's a kind of water-soluble, what would you call it? Combination of pigment and graphite, designed for drawing and painting. So we can give that a try. We've also got it in black and grey. So that's another thing. And I think we've just about got to the end now of everything that I can think of. So if I were to count up, and if we just said pencils is 1, there would be 2, 3, 5, 6. There wasn't much in that one, was there? 6 different things there. And then all of these. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and other colours. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25. And I'm sure I could come up with another half a dozen without too much effort. And I'll just quickly run through these books that I've got here. This is the one I've decided to use. This is a Talens, Royal Talens. That's Japanese make. Although it doesn't sound as if it is, but it is. Or Chinese. Hang on a second. Made in China. Yes. For Royal Talens, who are originally, anyway, were, I think, from Holland, from the Netherlands. So anyway, you can see these books on Amazon look just the same with different name, identical colour and everything. Anyway, this is £94 paper. That is to say it's a little bit thinner than the usual £140 that we use for most of our watercolour work, but I wanted to use something like this because I wanted to be able to do pencil work of all types on paper, so I wanted something that was relatively smooth. And these are the first two that I've started off with, a sunflower and a daisy. And we're going to carry on in here with the rest of the week and then the following 3 weeks. Here are some others that you can find online. This is a Clairefontaine mixed media, nice square little sketchbook. I think that's quite sweet. And then there's this one, which is a Clairefontaine travel journal. And I'm going to take this one with me to Egypt when I go, because that's a nice shape for landscapes, isn't it? So that one's coming with me. This is my Canson Mixed Media XL book, which we used for the birds that were earlier on in the year. That was a fun challenge. We did a paint a bird a day kind of thing. And we did Birds of the World, which was very fun. I enjoyed that. And I'm hoping to make some more videos with the recordings of these birds that I painted as we go forward. You remember the blue-footed booby? He was fun, wasn't he? I had no idea there was such a bird as this. Incredible. Hummingbird, Quetzal bird, Nicobar pigeon. I mean, they were amazing. Fantastic. The marvellous spatule tail. I mean, really? Aren't they wonderful? The racket-tailed roller. These fantastic birds. I'd never heard of any of them. Heard of puffins. They're pretty unreal as well. And the blue jay. We know about the blue jays, don't we? Go Canada. Chickadee. Yeah, that was a fun month, that was. I learnt a lot that month. All sorts of different birds. The American goldfinch. Baltimore oriole. I think that's a team as well, isn't it? The Baltimore oriole. The hummingbird again, and the tufted titmouse, and the mountain bluebird chick, and a little bit of playing, and a bit more playing, swallows and seagulls. Anyway, so that's that. Good book, good working book. Viva Colors, that's another one that's quite good. This is a Etcher sketchbook, and this is one that we've worked in since. This is one, I think this is the first sketchbook that I used on the channel, and we did quite a lot of nice paintings in there. I didn't ever get to the end, so I really should try to do that. Here's another Royal Talens one. It's a bigger one. This is A4 as opposed to this one, which is just under half that size. Yeah, so that would be nice if you wanted to do bigger paintings. The good thing about this, though, is you can open it flat and go across the 2 pages. And so you could do a spread across the whole page, the whole 2 pages if you wanted to. And then this is an antique. This is a Robert Bateman, very old. I think I bought this in Canada, Mona Lisa Art Materials. I think that's in Calgary. And I didn't even finish that one either. I'm not very good at finishing sketchbooks. Didn't do much in there at all, but I like the cover. Anyway, so there we go. Right, I'm going to get started. Let's put these over here. And yeah, I'm going to put all of these away, and I will come back in a second with a subject. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I've done today is, as a sort of warm-up, I've done a kind of loose sunflower, and then some daisies like these ones here, something like that. And I'll just put that back in its water. I don't think that will last very long if it's out of the water. And then the next thing I'm going to do is something like this pink flower here. This is actually a hollyhock. Hollyhock? Yes, hollyhock. And it's growing in the garden at the moment. I don't think it's going to last very long. So if I'm going to paint it, I better do it pretty quick, because its petals are very I don't know what's the word. They're like very soft and not sturdy at all. So I'm just going to put that there so I can see it. And I've also taken a photo, which is going to be useful, I think. It's difficult to see it, really. It looks like one big flower, like a hibiscus, but it isn't. These are all separate petals arranged in a circle. So, well, actually, hibiscus isn't. It's very similar, come to think of it, actually, to hibiscus. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's. I'm going to draw this with a fine liner, and then we'll colour it in somehow or other. Right. Come down to the centre there. There's something in the middle which has got bits sticking out. Okay, and then we have a stem coming down here. And then there are little things like this, seed heads. And then the leaves, which are kind of this kind of shape. And at this time of year, they're all a bit beaten up. Okay, so in the middle we have a dot there, and then around it I'm going to do some scribbly lines like that. And then we'll put The center is kind of darkened a bit. Can you see that? So we'll go all the way around the center. Some parts will be a bit longer. Okay, and then we'll put some breaks in the outside edge. We'll go around there a second time, and we'll just make that kind of a little bit more frilly. If we do some lines kind of turning over, that will give us an impression of the petals turning away. So your lines follow the direction of the leaves, petals. If they were leaves, it would be following the direction of the leaves. Okay, and then we need to find some paint. Let me see. I think I'll just open this one because this is handy. This is my VH Aquarelle set that we did with Victoria in Germany, and I don't need very much paint for this because we're just going to do it very, very lightly with a bit of pink. And I think this is a pink. That will do nicely, actually. This pink here. Yeah, and I'll just add a tiny bit of the slightly redder pink to that. To get, you know, reasonably close. And then what we're going to do, as you know, we usually, or quite often, paint kind of wet in wet, but because I'm painting on 94-pound paper today, we're not going to do anything remotely resembling layers or bunches and bunches of colour and work. I'm just going to wet the paper in places and put in some, I don't know how this is actually going to flow. In other words, I have no idea. And we want darker, so we'll have to add some blue. So we're adding blue to the red or pink to make it into a darker pink, like that. And then we're going to put that in the middle, but not all the way down, because we want yellow right in the center. And then we've only got a couple of yellows. I think this is a yellow, yellowy brown. So do that. And this is more of a bright yellow. Drop that in there. And then we need some green. It's quite light green. And these seed heads are also green, but probably a bit darker. So add a bit more blue to that green to make it a bit darker. And I'm definitely not trying to stay within the lines. Now, I can see immediately that any kind of working of the paper is going to give me a roughened texture. It's not going to take a lot of water, but that's not the end of the world. I think that's probably okay. What we need to do is dry it or let it dry and then see how that looks. And what we could also do with the idea of nature journals, we could look more closely, for example, at the seed head. Could open that one up. And then we could draw that. This is interesting because I don't actually understand what I'm drawing. So, because I don't know what it actually is, I'm having to look at it and try to draw actually what I see and not what I think I see. So that's a very important thing when you're learning to draw, is to look at what you see and not assume that you know what it is. So just draw it, if you see what I mean. So that's one half of it. And then we could turn it over and do the other half. Just doing what I can see. Okay, and if you do something like this, you'll find that you will stop worrying about the price of milk and why you haven't heard from your brother, or whether or not you can afford to pay the electricity bill, or what the hell you're going to have for dinner tonight, or whether you're likely to get COVID next week. Stop worrying about all those things. I woke up in the middle of the night last night realizing that I'm actually not immortal. That's always something that happens in the middle of the night, isn't it? So I just said the Lord's Prayer and went back to sleep. So there we are. That's the other side of that. And then I'm going to look at the back of the flower. So this bit. petal coming down here. There's a lot of people out there at the moment going on about, you know, painting to relieve stress and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of things being said. So if I'm going to add my voice to that, I'm going to say, stop listening to other people talking about it and get on and do it. Pick up that pen or brush that you've been promising yourself. What are you afraid of exactly? No one else need ever see anything you do. Most of the art that's exhibited is rubbish and I don't like it at all. The art that I like to see is what people have done and then they've said, oh, nobody will ever want to look at that, it's awful. And usually I think quite the reverse. Okay, so that's the kind of backside. And then we've got, coming up here, we've got lots and lots of veins, which look quite different from this side to what they looked like on the other side. And I'm not going to colour it in using watercolour. I might just dash in a little bit of pale pink using, this is a Poetique watercolour brush. Just a little dash of pink to show that it is pink and a little dash of green. To show that it is green. It's not very good green. Yeah, and then we could have a little bit of green here, not too much, don't want to spoil it. Okay, I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer. And then I want some white because in the center here, when you look, you can see there, it looks like there's white lines coming out. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white. That might have been better had I done it with this pen. So we'll try and break that up a bit. Okay, so that's that. So that's that one. That is the, whoops. What did I say it was called? It is a Hollyhock. Prefer that. This is messy. Haven't done a very good job of that. That's not too bad though. That's the other one, the daisy. So what have we got so far? 3. We have a sunflower, a daisy, a hollyhock, And now we have some lavender. That's easy. That's the lavender. Let's move the hollyhock. I think lavender is easier. Okay, so we're going to put a long stem, quite thin. Don't need to make the lines parallel or joined up, just give ourselves an indication. And then at the top, we have, there are lots of different types of lavender. And you can paint whatever one you happen to have, but mine has got flowers in a kind of bunch there, then there's a gap, and then there's a few more flowers. And then we come down and we've got some leaves coming out like this, and a few more flowers in there. And then we come down again and we have some more leaves. And then if we scoot down to here, we've got lots of little leaves going all over the place. Something like that. You could put another pair of leaves in there for the sake of balance. And that's got to be one of the quickest paintings that you could ever do. So, and I'm going to paint that very lightly in a sort of mauve. Very light, because this paper doesn't like paint. Good opportunity to just dance around a little bit. I mean on the paper. And this is a green colour from this set, which is quite appropriate. It's kind of greyish green. I'm deliberately trying not to stay within the lines, which is reasonably easy. Okay, so that is a sprig of lavender. Next, how many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, sage flowers. They're strange, aren't they? Sage flowers. They basically look like that. Put another line in for the stem. These are all raggedy because I think they've been around all summer in all weathers. And then we have the stem, the leaves, which are like this. These are the flowers, and the leaves are, as we all know, slightly furry and big. And lovely amount of movement in the leaves. Little ones, and then a big one. So there we are, that will do for that. And again, they are a bluish pink, something like that. So I'll do that, and then we need some green, and this green is very sage green, you know, almost a greyish. So I'm mixing green with the violet colour. I think that'll do. I'm definitely not painting all the leaves. There we are. That'll do for that. Sage. You see, each one doesn't have to take very long, does it? And then we have a pansy. Okay, so pansies. We have a special way of painting pansies. We start with backwards brackets, and then we're going to do a kind of upside down heart, and then the two leaves like that, petals. I don't know why I always say leaves, and then the ones at the back. And the stem comes down here. And then the leaves, and I know that I'm saying leaf now because that is what it is. And they are like this, a little bit indented. And down here we have another little flower which has got its self not yet open. And this one has got some nice lines coming out here. A little bit dark in the middle there. And these two petals on this particular one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this work on this paper, but I'm going to try, has got just like wet in wet designs on there. And then quickly we're going to drop in some lemon for the other petals. And this time of the year, you know, the greens are somewhat faded. We're in August at the moment. So we can get away with doing very washed out greens, faded. And some brighter yellow in the middle. We could put a little bit of yellow around the outside edge, but we won't get that nice bleeding on this paper. So we won't mess around with that too much because we learnt that with our Hollyhock, that we won't get the nice bleeds on this paper. So we'll leave it like that. But that's okay, that doesn't look too bad. Pansy. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we need one more. Number 6. We have a little rose. I don't know how I'm going to do that because the watercolor method won't work, will it? Because of the problem with the paper. So we'll have to do it in another way. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick with this for this 1 week. This is all pen and ink. And I'm going to start here with this finished flower. And we'll put some leaves. Okay, and then what should we do next? That kind of connects down here to the flower. So take that up there, and then we'll have a go at drawing what we see. There's a big petal up the back. And then we've got one coming out here to the front, and then another one here. And then a slightly damaged petal coming down there like that. And then down here we've got lots of little leaves. And on the inside, I suppose we could kind of indicate sort of going roundness of the rose. Okay, I'm not going to mess about with that any further. I'm going to call that rose. And for colouring, I think I'll just try and find a peach colour. I'm just going to put a little bit of palest pink in there. And That's the green's no good. The green's not so good, so and then just a tiny bit of orange here and there. And again, I'm not going to do anything else to that. So, my quick sketches for the week. A little bit of relaxation going on here. Sunflower. We haven't got any here, but I was able to copy one from a good photo. So that was my first practice one in this book. Daisies from the garden. Hollyhocks, as that's drying, that's looking a bit better. And we did split open the seed head and do that. And then lavender, one sprig of sage. A little pansy. And one of our wild roses. So I shall leave you with that. I'll put links to all the things that I've used in the description below, and hopefully you'll join in with me and you'll share your creations on Facebook with the hashtag sketchtember DAS Diane Antone Studio 24 for the year. So hashtag sketchtember DAS 24, and if you attach that to your picture when you post it on Facebook, then if you ever want to look back at what you did, you can just type that in and all the pictures that were posted by you and other people with that hashtag will show up. So it's a system for filing your paintings, which I think could be helpful. I'm into systems at the moment. I need to get some systems going so I don't have to rely on my brain quite so much to remember what's going on. I can just look it up. So there we are. I probably shouldn't close that up actually because it's not dry. So I shall leave that to do its thing sitting there. So here's a little flip through of what I've done this week in my Sketchtember sketchbook. I focused on flowers this week. Maybe I'll do something different next week. We'll see. So first of all, I've got a sunflower here, and this one is done in the Poetique watercolor brushes. This one is pen and ink with watercolor washes. This one is also pen and ink with a watercolor wash, except the petals, I used the Poetique, a very, very light shade in the Poetique watercolor brushes there. And this one is watercolor pencils, not my favorite medium as it happens, but I'm working on that. Here we have again pen and ink with washes. This is watercolor, this is Poetique. And then a little bit of lavender. Oh, that, by the way, was a hollyhock. Lavender ink with a wash, and this one, I can't remember what I did there, but I think that is a heavier version of this. This is very light. This one I kind of worked it up a bit more, made it a bit more powerful. This is watercolor pencil, but I didn't really add any water to it, so it's just pencil actually. This is ink with a watercolor wash. This is Sennelier, what do they call it, drawing ink with a dip pen, and I just very quickly kind of scribbled that. And this is a pansy in ink and wash, and then a rose. This is ink and wash rose. That's the first one that I did, and then I've just done this one using pastel pencils. So I've tried to use a variety of different media there, just to give everybody an idea of what I'm trying to drive at. And then with the next page, I might choose a different type of subject, also probably something from the garden. And I'm leaning towards the idea of going out and picking up a few stones and rocks and bringing them in. It'd be quite interesting to go from the living material into the stone, won't it? So perhaps I'll do that. So I'll say bye-bye again from me for now, and I'll see you again next week, probably, if things go according to plan. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.